All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wrestling fans of all ages, show your IDs because we're carding today because we are going to talk a little casual conversations. And I'm Ellie Jair.
Hey, and this is Jay Tilly.
Yes, sir. What is up, man? We started this chitty chat, and I think I think we should continue it.
Yeah. I said let's hit record. So obviously this is going to be our Wednesday Dynamite highs and lows, what we liked and didn't like. But as we were getting ready to set up and record, I was mentioning that Revolution's this weekend, and I just went and bought an undisclosed amount because my wife will listen to this of bourbon for us to try. So I bought us. I got some peach. It's called Whiskey Smith's, and it's their peach infused bourbon. Whew, it's good, man. I had some just now with
Nice,
my cigar. I had another glass. So this might
nice.
get a little entertaining. But yeah, I got Whiskey Smith's Peach. I was looking for their Blood Orange. So they have a Blood Orange one that won the World Whiskey competition for best infused flavors.
Oh
And I'm
man.
like, man, a Blood Orange would be really good. I got Yellowstone, aged 10 years, like limited release one that the guy at the store told me to get. And I haven't tasted that one yet. I just, popped it and smelled it, and it smells nice.
Nice.
And then I got a Heaven's Door Master Blend 12-year age. And what else? I got one more.
Yeah, you had a fourth one that
Oh, I
the
got
there it
Widow
is, Widow
Jane's.
Widow Jane.
Widow
I've
Jane
seen
10
that
year.
I've seen that before, and like I said before we started recording, over at One More Bottle, he he was talking about the Yellowstone, and he it seems like he has a very similar palate as far as like what I like. I like the real smoky, like the double oak type stuff,
Yep.
and he said that the that that Yellowstone is a nice sipper. So excited to sample that. Yeah, I've got a Angel's Envy. I've got a Jefferson Reserve Double Oak, which Josh had talked about, and I've got one more. It's not a Tennessee whiskey though, but it's supposed to be good. So super excited, looking forward to Revolution, and the card is shaping up,
Wait,
and I
wait, wait,
hope
wait, wait,
there's.
wait. We got more bourbon to talk about.
Oh my
Because I
bad,
also got, I
I'm
also
not
got
stopping there.
a couple weeks ago. So, well, my point is, like, if we really are going to do a taste test, Revolution might be extremely entertaining. Because I
Mm-hmm.
also picked up a bottle of Buffalo Trace.
Oh,
So I've got the Buffalo
I'm
Trace.
so I love Buffalo Trace, love it.
Yep. And I got a bottle of, is it not Russell's? Maybe it is Russell's. The 10-year, the one you told me to get.
Oh, I like that one.
I
Yeah,
got a
the
bottle
10
of
and
that.
12 are both really good.
Yeah, maybe it's a 12. It might have been a 12. And then I've got the Metallica blackened whiskey that they did, and their
Oof.
limited edition release. And I had some of that last night, and whew, it's stout.
Wow.
It's one of those that's got this really great, sweet, almost palate at first, but
Okay.
then it kicks you in the ass when it hits
Boom.
the burn. It's like,
Like a
whoa. like
like a
like I felt like I
donkey.
could light yeah. I was like, I feel like I could light my breath on fire. It was
Nice.
stout. But it was so good because it was so sweet on the front end that I was like,
Okay.
I want a little more. Oh, I want a little more. I want a little more. So I enjoyed it. But
That's
yeah, so
awesome.
ideally for Revolution, I'm gonna go pick up a brisket tomorrow. I'm gonna throw that on. I'll smoke that all day Saturday. So when you guys get here Sunday, we'll have some brisket, some bourbon, and some body slams.
Baby, the triple Bs are going to be coming at you. We are going to be a three-man booth for our next couple of episodes. We are bringing in artist freaking Rollins, who is a very proud brother of arms, former Devil Dog, and retired Army Dog. So super excited to get his version and feedback on what he's calling his triple B, and see what his beard ratings are. His beard is little, but it's not necessarily the size; it's how you use it or groom it or
Yep.
whatever. But yeah, man, that's going to be That's gonna be really, really cool. Looking forward to it.
I think he's bringing some bourbons too. It looked like he was picking up some of the the Uncle. What is it? The
Yeah,
Uncle Jack or Uncle Nelson or whatever that
Nestor.
1850. Yeah, Uncle Nestor. That's what it was.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
picking up some of that. And
He's got another version of Buffalo Trace that he was gonna grab,
oh, okay.
and then in 1856 and then 1884, which one is a small batch. I don't know what the other one is. And those small batches are really cool. And like if it's oof, and it's 93 proof, so
Oh
it's
Lord.
that's gonna be pretty nice. So
Well,
I'm
the
still
Widow
getting
Jane. Go ahead.
yeah, that Widow Jane. I've heard a lot about that one, and my little store right here around the corner, they have I think it's called Widowmaker, and the bottle itself looks like a wanted poster, and it's pretty cool. So I may swing by and grab that, and I have some Old Forester, some 19, I think it's 1910 and 1920. So I'll bring a bottle of each of those. I love Old Forester, and then Bullet. I love Bullet. Man, it's like it's real burny, but it's delicioso. Num, 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 num.
Yeah, we're gonna be laying on the floor. Come, the Iron Man match is gonna start. We're huh?
Yeah,
What's going on? We're gonna have so many damn bourbons.
yeah.
That's great.
My sampling though, I'm gonna have to just do like little snoots because I don't want to be out there drinking and driving with a bunch of local yokels
Yep.
on our roadways. So just like
Well,
with anything, enjoy in moderation, but definitely if you have a beverage of choice that you like, let us know. Give us some advice. I made a Gold Rush, which is bourbon and lemon with a little bit of honey, and that was really good. And then I'm a huge fan of Manhattans, which you really need sweet vermouth. And I've finally bought the right vermouth. I bought 2 bottles of dry vermouth, which I mean,
yeah,
I'll
that's for
make a
martinis.
martini
Yeah,
or something with that. Tiffany likes apple martinis, so whenever she's able to drink again, maybe I'll make her one. But yeah, the bourbon, I'm learning a little bit more every day from my guy over there out of Texas. One more bottle. I appreciate the advice and the feedback. I need to get that shirt. I offered to trade him one of our No Shave Man Cave All Beard No Fear for
nice.
one of his shirts. So I'm waiting to get some feedback on that. But yeah, I love the Bernie and the real smoky flavor. And the what was the one that you had in the blue bottle that was just
Johnny Walker Blue.
butter? Wow.
Yeah, man,
So that was
that's the good stuff.
yeah, that
I
was
looked for a
really
bottle
good.
of that, but it's like $300 a bottle. I was like, I just can't. I can't. That's like a very special occasion one for me.
Yeah.
So I might down the road get one and just keep it in the house. But I've
Yeah.
also got a Japanese whiskey up there that's really good
Mm,
that you can try. Yeah, I got quite a very variety. But I was gonna say that Widow Jane's, I think it was another winner, which is why I picked it up, and I think it won for best small batch non Kentucky bourbon.
oh geez.
So
Yeah.
it's a small batch too, and so was the Yellowstone. They're both small batches.
Yeah, I love
The cool
that.
thing about the Yellowstone is it's got they only gave a limited number to each liquor store that orders from them.
Mm.
So it's got the label on it, and then it's got the label of the liquor store that I bought it from. It's a Golden Ox. It's up here in the corner, and it's got Golden Ox like bottle number 6 of 10 or whatever.
Oh
So they
wow.
only sent them so many bottles. So I'm like, that's kind of cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, for Christmas we got our boss an allocated bottle of bourbon, and then they give these little chips out. And me being a coin guy, I thought that was really cool. So you get I think it's 10% at the liquor store if he goes to that one, he just flashes his coin.
That's cool.
um, yeah. So, but I'm super excited. I'm gonna go check out the we have a large liquor store and then a real small mom and pop one. So I'll swing by there and see if they have that blood orange one before I
Yeah, that sounds
shoot over
good.
there. I love blood orange. That's
Yep.
why I like old fashions, because that cherry orange
Cherry orange, yeah.
tinge to it. So should hit my
Well,
cough button.
yeah. Hey, there's a mute button on here. We can hit it. I hit it
Yeah,
every
my
once in a while when we're
my
coughing.
bad. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we just go off the cuff.
Hmm.
Uh
What's your price point? Like when you're looking, you're like, okay,
I,
I'm gonna like if I'm getting something that I'm gonna make a mixer out of, it's like $35. So I
oh
grabbed a
yeah.
bottle of Benchmark Top Floor, which is the same company and same juice that they use with Buffalo Trace. It's just a different process and a different house, evidently, or built fermenting station with different barrels,
Right.
and the top floor insinuates that it's in barrels on the top floor of the building, so it's warmer. So whatever occurs based on how it when it's juicing or fermenting
Right.
or brewing, whatever it is. And so I think that was like 25, $26. I was like, okay, I'm going to use that as a mixer. But if I'm grabbing something that I'm just going to like put one ice cube in and just sip on it, I get, I look around and like, okay, I'm not going to go any more than like 75, I think. But you look at some of the ones that you've talked about, um, we're in the
I go a little
three
more than that
digits.
sometimes. Well, yeah,
So,
like the Johnny Walker Blue. Obviously, you don't use it as a mixer. That is a pour in a glass and enjoy and sip while you're having a cigar or sitting by the fire or whatever the case is. Because yeah, that's up in the $300 range. Um, no, I've got a bottle of I think it's Glen Moray in there. That's was gifted to me. It's not a great bourbon, Scotch, whatever you want to call it. I forgot what it. I forgot if it's a Scotch or a bourbon. I use that as a mixer. I also have a. Oh, it's the one with the dog on it. It's a cherry whiskey.
oh, the bird
Um,
dog.
Bird dog. Yeah, I use
Yeah,
that in my old fashions for the extra cherry flavor.
yeah,
Um,
I like that one.
but like if I'm doing everyday sips, I don't know. I don't really. I guess $50, 50 to 75 on like the everyday.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do a special occasion one, like I said, the blues like 300.
Hmm.
The Heaven's Door one I got was a little up there, so I think it was like 150. So,
Okay.
but I definitely wanted to try it. There's one I really want to try. I think it was um, I don't remember the. It's gonna drive me nuts. I'm drawing a blank, but it was CYPB. It was create your perfect bourbon, and oh man, who did it? Anyway, it was the one I sent you the picture of in text message. I really want to try it. I won all kinds of awards. I looked it up. It's like $900. I'm like, yeah, I
Ooh. Oh, I know.
can't find.
I remember that.
Yep, can't find myself
Yeah.
spending that much for a bottle. That would be like a huge. I'm really gonna celebrate kind of bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also going to bring, so along with Angel's Envy, which I really, really enjoy, and the packaging and everything, super cool. So shout out to those guys and what they got going on. And that's a 80, I think it's 86 point something. I have a Blue Note one, and that's a 93 proof. So looking forward to that. And then, how did you like the brown sugar?
It's a little sweet.
Okay.
It's almost like maple syrupy sweet.
Oof.
I enjoyed it. I actually kind of spiked it with some Glenmorangie just to give it a
Mm,
little,
okay.
to cut it a little.
Hmm.
Um, but I enjoyed it. I'm trying to look up that one I just got.
Yeah, you got the blackened Willette
Yep,
and
yep.
The Russell 10 year. So anyone who's listening and they're like, I got one guy that I follow. He's on day 42, 43, drinking bourbon until I like it. And he, like the first, I don't know, 20 days or whatever, he would cough and choke and, have to take a breath every time. He got a hold of the Russell 10 year, which you have too, and didn't react, didn't cough and do all that. So good for him. But yeah, Russell, that was one I got for one of my managers who was like, yeah, I'd like to get into bourbon. I was like, I got the perfect one for you, and I brought it to him. There's a Basil Hayden is another one. It's a nice sipper. Um, I like it cold, but not everybody wants to throw an ice cube or whatever in it. But I like it cold, and there's enough alcohol in it that if you were to throw it in the freezer, it'd be fine. So if that's something that you're sipping and you enjoy it that way, but I like it, with
I'd rather frost my glass. I don't like
yeah,
freezing bourbon. I think it
that's
changes
another
the
one.
flavor a little bit.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah, it'll
I
definitely temper it. Like the
yeah,
Gentleman Jack and Sons has this like pepper finish to it. If you drop an ice cube in there,
yep,
totally changes everything. One of the guys came over that I hang out with, and he had one of those ballers, the ice ballers. I was like, oh, that's
yeah,
really cool. And then I saw one that it's, I think it might be metal or ceramic, and you just throw it in the freezer and it keeps your drink cold, but it
yep. I was
doesn't.
just going to talk about those.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called,
I've
but I
yet
was
to
like, oh
find.
dang, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think they're called whiskey stones, and I've yet to find one that actually works.
Mm,
I've had a couple different versions of them, and you throw
whiskey
them in and they get
stone.
cold, but they don't get like ice cold. Because I'm with you. I like it cold,
Hmm.
but I don't want to throw a ice cube in there because I feel like it's watering down your whiskey.
Yeah.
So I like the stones, but like I said, I've yet to find one that was that worked enough to where it cooled it down. But frosting your
Hmm.
glass isn't a bad idea. Throwing the glasses in the freezer.
Yeah.
I usually don't put my whiskey in the freezer because I think it changes the flavor. But
Mm,
pouring it into a frosted glass isn't a bad idea.
okay.
And it was
Yeah, I never even thought of
W.L.
that.
Weller, W.L. Weller, the CYPB. That's the one I want to try. But
Weller, yeah.
yeah,
Is
but
that
it's like
the
that's the
green?
$900 one.
Is
It's
it
a white
the
label for this
white
one.
label? Okay, yeah. Yeah, Weller's got some pretty good ones. The liquor store over here, I was like, "Do you have any Weller or whatever?" She's like, "Keep trying." I was like, "You got any Van Winkle?" She looked at me like, "Where do you think you are?" I'm like, "My bad. I just saw it on a website. I'm just trying to be part of the cool group, whatever." So, um, but yeah, I'm probably 6 months in, 7 months into my um bourbon collection, and it's every day I pick up a new note or something, like you smell it, and oh, you're supposed to smell it with your mouth open, you're
Yep.
supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. I'm like, oof, i'm I'm learning. So it's fun to if you have a store that's near you and you go in and they've got the little tags on the counter or on the shelf. Ask one of the employees. They'll for a sample or whatever. I'm like, oh, let me get a little snoot of that, and it's just enough to go, yeah, I don't like it. Oh, I love it. Or oh man, I think I'm gonna need to sip on this a couple of times to really figure out what it is. But yeah, I like it real burny, real smoky, and it's almost like an ethanol kind of a feel, and it just depends on which one it is. You had one that I think it's a terrible comparison too, because you had the blue bottle. What was that again?
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker,
Yeah,
and
Johnny
it
Walker
was
Blue.
so freaking smooth. I was like,
Smooth.
wow.
Yeah.
So that's don't let that be the first bourbon you try. You
No.
definitely want to you want to work your way up. That might be like a graduation gift, a wedding gift.
Yeah, that's
Um,
and they've got a Johnny Walker above that.
mm,
I can't think of the name of it. Uh it's they have a bunch. They have like Johnny Walker Red, Green, Gold, Double Black, Black. Johnny Walker Black's kind of your base level. That would be
mhm.
kind of probably where I sit my price level on normal because that's when I started drinking whiskey. That's all I had was Johnny Walker Black.
Okay.
Because Clayton turned me on to that, and then he gave me blue once. I'm like, oh, what is this heavenly stuff?
Hmm.
So, kind of, yeah, blue's the top of the line for me. Now, I am curious to try some of the other ones that are a little pricier. That I can't think of the Japanese one I've got, but it's pretty smooth too. Yeah, it's good stuff. But it's funny you like the Bernie, can't feel my
Hmm.
mouth when I'm done, and I'm the opposite. I like it. But again, I got turned on to blue pretty early, so
Okay.
blue is so smooth and very little burn on it. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
kind of
that
like
that
where I set
was
my bar.
freaking smooth. Yeah, I'm on the johnnywalker.com website and just looking at the different ones, the high rise and the double blacks and
Yep.
the gold labels, and
Yep.
each of the packaging too is phenomenal. And if you're, not, and we're not sponsored by any specific
However,
club store, but if you are interested in supporting the No Shave Man Cave casual conversations and triple B's, hit us up. Free memberships. We'll talk. Let's discuss. You go in there and they have these gift packs, so that's a really cool idea. And I'm going to do that this year. I'm going to make cutting boards, and then, or not cutting boards, but charcuterie boards, and for local folks that I don't have to mail it to, give them a nice little sipper that I'll get at one of the club stores. So, but yeah, no, that's it's enjoyable to have something to sip on. Now that I'm practicing what I preach as far as like moderation and stuff, and tomorrow is the big day, so that'll be hopping off the wagon. I'm actually going to wait till Sunday. I'm the designated driver on Saturday. Tiff's going to a margarita party, and me and a couple of the other husbands are hanging out. And but yeah, I'm my palate's my palate's ready. So I'll bring a couple of I'll bring a double oak. So I'll have the Jefferson double oak. I'll have the Blue Note, and then the Angel's Envy, plus whatever you have. I'm going to stop by, see if they have that blood orange one, because I really am super interested in that. And then whatever artist brings, and bourbon, you don't have to sit there and chug it. You just sit and enjoy it.
Shouldn't.
And, yeah, and that's so yeah, I'm pumped, man.
So I also, I enjoy every day. I enjoy a very good cigar, or a cigar with my bourbon. So I know you're not a cigar smoker, but if you decided to try one during our Revolution weekend on Sunday, I did get some that are super mild. They're like good for starters. And I'm trying to remember the name. I'm actually looking it up real quick. It is a Brick House Double Connecticut. So they're supposed to be really smooth. So Connecticut wrapper is usually their light colored wrapper. So it's kind of a smooth, vanilla-y, creamy flavor. Well, Brick House is the only people that do a double Connecticut. So your filler wrapper is also the Connecticut smooth wrapper. So I got a couple of those. I actually got a couple because I want to try one. But, if you want to partake, I'll light you up a cigar.
Cool.
The biggest thing I'll tell you, if you are going to try, do not inhale it. That's the number one thing beginners who do cigars try to do, is smoke it like a cigarette or a vape pen or a joint.
Oh,
you don't do that. You just kind of let it sit in your mouth and slowly blow it out. But yeah, I usually have a cigar every day with a bourbon sitting on the patio. Nice. Kind of getting my mind right after the work day. And matter of fact, that's why I just had a Gurkha 18-year aged anniversary cellar reserve.
Jeez.
And man, it was smooth. It was a nice smooth cigar, a little full bodied. It's funny. It's a lot like bourbon, right? So with cigars, same thing, right? You light them up and you'll get that. So cigars you smoke in thirds. You get the first third, which is usually like your beginning of your flavor palette. And what I noticed with the Gurkha is it's it was the Gurkha today. Kind of comes off like a pepper, almost like a pepper flavor. And then it's slowly, like you smoke the first third and it's like peppery and some oak maybe, or, whatever the flavor is. Then the second third, you get a whole different flavor palette. It's really weird. And then your last third, which I'm not a big last third kind of guy. And I know like all the cigar snobs out there, oh, what? Hey, you like what you like. You don't like what you like. But usually when it gets to the last third, it gets a little more stout and strong for me. And sometimes it can get a little bitter. Now, if it gets too bitter, that means I'm totally going on a cigar thing for you. But if it gets too bitter, usually it means your cherry's too hot inside and you got to let it cool down. But there's not a lot of cigars I really get into the last third. This one I smoked to the nub. But it had like almost an orange peel flavor through it too. It was really good. Yeah, it was really smooth and creamy. Cool. There's a couple out there. I was trying to get by the weekend, but I don't know if I will, that are espresso and coffee infused flavors. And I was like, oh man,
Dang.
if he doesn't want a smooth one, we could try a coffee infused one. But I don't think it'll get here in time. I'll double check. I'm actually gonna order from a new place because I've been in contact with the guy that owns it, Daily Cigars Plus. Has a YouTube channel I follow, and with us talking about wanting to get into the cigar and bourbon lounge business, I reached out to him for some advice, and I told him like, oh man, like I'm gonna look at your store, and he's got some of those coffee ones. So I don't know if I can get them in time, but I'm gonna try.
Oh, that's
So if you're
cool.
interested in trying a little cigar,
Yeah.
they pair
Yeah,
perfectly
there's
with a
a
bourbon.
yeah, one of the liquor stores that I go to, they have a humidor. So I'll pop in there. I'll get a couple of the names from you before I go in there and just ask them, see if they have it.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I
that,
and I sample a lot of them. In actual fact, I get a lot of mine right now from Neptune Cigars down in Fort Lauderdale because I used to shop there when I lived down there. So now
mm,
they have an online store. I buy from them, and it's funny. I found out Clayton goes there. That's where he gets his cigars. But I order from them a lot. So I'm also signed up. So every month they send me 4 cigars in like a sampler pack. So I kind of get a variety of samples every month anyway.
oh wow.
Because cigars are like I said, a lot like bourbon. There's a ton of different ones out there. There's
Yeah.
some that you're gonna light up and go, oh God, this is awful. They range from smooth and very mellow to very bold and strong. And I'm not a big bold and strong guy. Well, let me take that back. I wasn't until recently. I've had a couple that I'm like, I really like this, and they're the more full-bodied ones,
Okay.
and I've enjoyed them. You almost get a little buzz too if it's a really good full-body one. So you mix that with your bourbon. It's
Yeah.
good. That's why I'm always kind of so relaxed coming out of that. I'm like, all right, I'm good to go for the evening
All
now.
right, man.
I
I'm
don't
just
need a
over
gummy. I'm
here,
good.
man. Yeah. The
But
with so like as as I've gone through bottles and decided what I didn't like and what I did like, and um the like the levels and the whether it's the smokier or the um less alcohol, like just because it has a higher alcohol content doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to taste different, or um, you're going to respond to it differently, whether it's on the front as you sip it or on the back end as it's sliding down. um,
that's what
do
she said.
you do, do you notice that with your cigars, like
Oh
over the
yeah.
years you're like, oh, I'm more mature now, I don't
Oh, definitely,
yeah, okay.
definitely. So I used to when I first started. Well, I think one of the first ones I had was a really full-bodied one, and I got sick as a dog. And I didn't
Oof.
smoke another cigar for years. I was so
Yeah,
sick. Um, but
that
it was
happened
a
to me the
full
first time
body,
I dipped. First time I dipped, I was with my brother,
very
and he
much
was
like that.
like, just keep it in for like 2 minutes. I was like, okay. In 2 minutes, I mean, it's only 120 seconds. You're like, boom. He's like, okay,
Yep.
get it out. I was like, all right. So I clear it out, and I rinse my mouth out. Man, I was spinning so
Yep.
hard, and it was like I've never had vertigo, but I've been on a tilt-a-wheel, and I felt like I was on a tilt-a-wheel, and I like chucked it. I was like, damn
Yep.
it. And he goes, all right, man, we'll try again tomorrow. I'm like, nope. And I didn't dip, and I think I was 15 or 16. I didn't dip until I'd been in the Marine Corps probably 6, 7 years. We were out on a deployment or something, or out in the field, and I was just bored. And they were like, "Oh, try this," and I was like, "Oh, geez." And it was some long cut Copenhagen, and the flavor and everything was like when you crack it open, you're like, "Wow, that smells pretty good." And over time, people are like, "What on earth?" But yeah, and like pipe smoke or pipe tobacco, like the
Yep.
sweet, and you can pick up the fruit notes and stuff. Oh
Yeah.
man,
Cigars are like that.
that's
Yep. So,
yeah.
yeah, I say it was my first. I don't know if it was my first cigar, but it's the first one I remember getting sick on. And I remember
Mhm.
I tried to inhale it for one. It was a really dark, full-bodied one, and we were going somewhere, so I had to smoke it fast. So I was like
Mm,
all the things I don't want to do.
right.
And oh my God, I was sick. And it's happened a couple times since then. in other cigars I smoked where like I get in a hurry and I try to smoke it real fast, and what that does is it heats it up and changes the flavor, and then you're getting too much nicotine at once because a cigar, depending on the size
Oh,
of the
okay.
cigar, you can kind of judge how long it is going to take. So, like a Toro, about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, I can sit and enjoy it because ideally you want to puff, wait about 60 to 70 seconds, enough to have a sentence or a conversation, take another puff. So
Hmm.
they're a very slow and leisurely thing to do. And I noticed back in the day when I would smoke them, I'd smoke them too fast. And then I would get this bitter taste. And that's when I started going, why does it do that?
Hmm.
Well, it's because the cherry gets in there and gets too hot and it starts burning the leaves instead of just toasting them.
Hmm.
So, oh, okay. So you learn stuff as you go, just like bourbon. And
Yeah.
just like in bourbon, there's a wide variety of them to, you've got your rye whiskey, you've got your Kentucky bourbon, you've got your corn whiskey, and all those things will change the profile. What's the same with cigars? You got all the different leaves. You've got
Mm.
the different leaves they wrap it in, and then the filler leaf, and all, and the same thing with bourbon, right? Like the thing about the cigars, which I always like, is the fact that somebody takes like a cigar is hand rolled. Every cigar you smoke,
Dude.
the premium cigars. So the ones I smoke and the ones I get are somebody took the time
Yeah.
to roll these cigars up, cap them up, grow the tobacco. So it's art.
Dude.
It's beautiful. So for me, that's kind of a neat thing to do too. Is like think of like the guy who sat here and rolled this cigar, who's
Hmm.
probably been rolling cigars for 60 years. Sometimes they're
Jeez.
depending on where you get them.
That's cool.
And so, that's kind of just like bourbon. They age it for 12, 10 years. So like, golly, the patience to just let that sit there and not do
Yeah.
anything with it is amazing.
Or you're
Uh,
you're you're an employee at pick a company, McKinney's, and
right.
you walk in and you're like, all right, man, you clock in, you're like, all right, let's fill some barrels or let's recycle some barrels or do whatever. All right, we're opening this sector of barrels. So you go through like the whole maturation period. Yeah, I filled this barrel on my first day 10 years,
Yeah.
10 years ago. You're like, what?
Yeah.
So whenever I grab a bottle and the like Maker's Mark, how they dip it in the red wax.
Yep.
That's like, to me, it's unique. I think, because each person who rolls the wax does it a little bit different, and I enjoy Maker's Mark, and it's
That's
a
a good,
nice mixer too.
yeah.
But the bottle is unique, and then some of the companies, there's a brand called Soldier, and each label on there it's metal, and there's a little bit of metal in each label from the Twin Towers.
Oh,
And
wow.
so as soon as whenever I get my hands on a bottle of that, I will
That is
hang on to
awesome.
that for a minute. And I tried to quick come back around. I tried to be the plank owner, the CCO, Combat Cargo Officer, on the USS New York, and I sent in my birth certificate. I'm like, hey, I was born in New York. This is the live stream, and they were like, all right, cool, appreciate it. I didn't end up becoming the plank owner, and just stuff like that I think it's really unique, like how you're talking, you know, John or Steve or whoever's over there rolling
Yep.
the cigars, and it's not necessarily I guess it would be like a labor of love, or
Yeah.
something they truly enjoy doing, and how each one is sculpted and has to be done a certain way, and quality control, and it gets to where just like with the bourbons, the cigars are famous, and
Mm-hmm.
I have some really cool cigar boxes that I would convert into little keepsake boxes, and give them as retirement or going away gifts or whatever, and just the craftsmanship. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, like we were talking about the aging stuff. So I had a Gurkha anniversary cellar reserve anniversary 25-year aged tobacco. I lit the thing up, not thinking much about it, and I started reading the label. I'm like, holy crap, this tobacco aged longer than I stayed in the military. I was out
Dude,
24
that's
years.
nuts.
That tobacco aged my entire
Wow.
military career. That tobacco leaves hung in a cellar and dried out and aged, and then they used it to
Yeah,
make the cigar that I lit up and
that's
smoked. I'm
awesome.
like, it's really cool. And
Jeez.
Yeah, the flavor profiles are pretty neat. Yeah, and like I said, it's really cool when you compare it with a good cigar. I also
Hmm.
like pairing it with a bourbon. I also like pairing cigars with, believe it or not, IBC root beer.
Hmm.
I don't know why IBC root beer. It can't be A&W. It can't be any other ones, but an IBC, ice cold IBC root beer with a very mild, like Connecticut wrappered cigar is so good. I guess it's the
That's cool.
creaminess of that Connecticut wrapper
Yeah,
and the creaminess of the root beer. But that's a really good pairing for
that's
me.
funny.
Um, there's some other ones that are really good with coffee, so
Hmm.
it's a good coffee pairing. Yeah, I'm a big cigar dude. So
Dang.
not that I want to get any more other bad habits, but if you're interested, I've got one.
Hey, I got a couple years left. I might as well hop on, pick up. I'm dropping, I'm trying to get rid of some, pick up some new ones along with. So,
Yeah, again, like bourbon though, it can get kind of expensive,
hmm.
especially if you start going for some of the. I will say though, I don't think it's as well. I guess if you compare maybe one cigar per a glass of bourbon, it probably is about the same price on
Hmm.
some of them. But you can get some pretty decent under $5 cigars that are good smokes for every day. They're not bad.
Yeah.
So, but you can also get some really premium, like $60. Actually, I had one when Rob passed. I had bought two of them. They were a Davidoff Reserve, $90 a piece for
Mm.
the cigar, and he and I were supposed to share them. So I ended up, when I went to his funeral, I smoked them up there. But yeah, $90. So they can. And hell, I've seen
Mm.
cigars, just a cigar, for up into $200-300.
So I'm, I maybe have taken a puff of a cigar
Uh huh.
or, and like the Swisher Sweets and stuff, but that's not
That's
really
not
cigar.
cigars. Yeah.
So, like, if you sit down, you start and finish it, or if you
Yeah.
don't finish it, do you
Waste it.
set it aside and come back and
It
smoke it
depends.
tomorrow?
If
Or
no, I never smoked. I have in the past smoked it the next day. It just never has the same flavor.
okay,
That's so that's why if you look at my humidor, I've got some nubs which are quick 30 minutes. I can kind of
hmm.
tell how long it is. Like sometimes I'll go out there and I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna be out here for a good 2 hours, so I'll get a nice big cigar and I'll know it's gonna take 2 hours to smoke it. When I first started, I didn't know that, and sometimes I'd be like,
Hmm.
all right, I don't want the rest of this, and now I'm throwing away half the cigar because I didn't want to be out there
Oh
that long.
wow, okay,
But now that I've gotten to where I can kind of go, all right, well, yeah, this size, about an hour and a half, I can sit out here and relax. An hour if I push it. But yeah, typically you want to smoke it all the way through. You can relight them. It damages the flavor a little bit, but if you purge it, which is a technique that is kind of controversial, I guess, in the cigar world. But if it's basically where you light it and you blow out the cigar instead of sucking in, because what you're doing is just blowing all the ash and stuff out of it. I
mm.
tend to do that because it resets the flavor for me. I don't
Mm.
know if there's science behind it or not, but it works. So
That's interesting. Yeah,
so
wow.
I don't know if it has to do with the way it heats up or whatnot, but
Yeah.
it seems to work when I do it, and it cuts some of that bitterness out when you relight it. But typically, yeah, I smoke the whole thing in one sitting.
Hmm. Yeah, I have like three different glasses that I've used to drink bourbon out of, and I mean I have more than three, but the shape and size and
Right.
like the like where your nose sits and everything, and whether you have it neat or on the rocks or whatever, you can
Yep.
definitely tell the difference. And if you swirl it around or if you just cork the bottle, you just pop the bottle. There's one guy he's out of New York, and he's really big on when he pops the bottle, he judges how he's gonna like it based on that when the cork comes out.
Oh
So now
wow.
I'm like, oh, I can't. I've got a few bottles that I'm looking forward to uncorking. But then I roll into I have a bottle of Benchmark that it's the top floor one I just got. It's a screw on label or screw on lid. I'm like, oh. So
Oh.
I'm not sure if that changes, oh, this isn't classy. Don't take that out in public or put it in a paper bag. Don't embarrass yourself, son. So I've got a little bit to learn on that, and I'll be taking some notes over the next few months as we do a few more of these triple Bs and stuff. So, but
Yeah, I like the cork too. I love the
yeah,
when you pop it on and then the
yeah,
smell it. Oh, it's like yeah. There's something about that too. And I think I do have one that was I pulled the label off and it was a screw top. I'm like, oh, I don't even want this anymore, which is sad, but it really did. I was
Yeah.
just like, that's disappointing.
Mm.
I think it was the brown sugar, the brown sugar one. I think it was what it was, but and that
Oh.
one, man, it was way too sweet.
Hmm.
Like I said, maybe mixing it with a sour mix will be all right, but it was
Hmm.
like maple syrup almost. I
Oof.
didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. It
Yeah, I'm
was
not a
almost like
big.
yeah, it was like I don't know, it's just way too sweet.
Yeah, yeah. We'll read up on something that you could do with that. And I'm not a super sweet person to begin with, but the like an old fashioned, when you grab your bourbon, you have a for like the $10 version of it, you drop some bitters in there with a sugar cube. You muddle that, and then you
Right.
put 2 ounces of bourbon,
Yeah, I ain't got
and
time for all that.
yeah, and you wipe the rim with the rind or the peel of an orange, and there's an old fashioned. I'm like, and I
I'll just
I
take some
like to
mix and some.
use yeah, I like to use the Filthy brand cherry and a fresh orange with I do use bitters. I'll put a couple shots of bitters in there, but I won't put any sugar in it, and then I'll stir it up. But I'm not one who's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to put it in a different glass. I stir it I stir it in the same glass that I'm going to drink out of it, because I'm not a bartender. But what I have noticed is whenever I go out to a restaurant or to a bar or whatever, and Tiffany will order a apple martini and I'll get a old fashioned. If I don't get an old fashioned or a Manhattan, I don't taste the alcohol. And I'm like, hey, can we discuss this? Like, can you spice this up or whatever?
Yeah.
Because I've been mixing my drinks completely wrong. So as an adult move, I actually went and bought a shot glass. So it's a two-sided shot glass. So it's a
Yep.
1 ounce and a 2 ounce.
Yeah, I've got one of those.
So, and then I ordered you
Did you
something
get a
that I'll
shaker?
bring. I did get a shaker,
There you
and then
go.
I ordered something that should be here before I head over to your place on Sunday, for sort of a like a gift or whatever, and
Okay.
it'll help you with your drinking endeavors. So,
Cool.
so
Yeah, we got the liquor cabinet set up now. So when you come in,
mhm.
we've actually got a nice liquor cabinet.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, there's some empty spaces here. I'm going to buy some bourbon.
Hmm.
And Amy's like, no, she's got Shambora and some other stuff in it, and
Yeah. What is she
Amaretto. And
like?
she is, I don't, she changes.
Hmm.
She's Bloody Marys.
Mm.
And then sometimes she'll, like for her trip just now, she took the Bacardi. So she's going to do rum on her trip right now.
Yeah, I don't like
Uh,
sugar alcohols. Like,
See, I
yeah.
used to be a big rum guy, but I'm not so much anymore. If I do mixed drinks, it's usually vodka. Like I'll do Deep Eddies with some
Oh,
lemonade, or yeah, I
yeah.
love that
Shout out to my
Deep Eddies
crew
has
out of
that,
Austin, baby.
man. That's
Deep
some good
Eddy's
stuff.
lemon with the grocery store brand iced tea, or not? Yeah, brewed unsweetened tea. So because it's sweet already, so I'll fill it halfway up with ice.
Yep.
I'll pour the Deep Eddies in till the ice is covered, and then I'll pour the iced tea in there and just shake it around. And that's my what is that, Arnold Palmer? So that's my
Yep.
Arnold Palmer. And Tiff got, because I've dropped some glasses out by the pool, and I got to get my shop back so I don't cut the dogs up and stuff.
Yep.
And so Tiff went and bought these shatterproof plastic mugs. Brilliant woman. And yeah, so I'll have that walking around. But yeah, I'm all in with some bourbon, and I'm really excited because the pairing with bourbon, some brisket, and some body slams, that could be another B that we could
Yep.
bust in there. The Quattro Bravo Quattro, whatever. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to hanging out and getting Artis's vibe on wrestling.
Yep.
And just like what we were talking about before, how he's been going through it. My man has been going through it. So shout out to the Rollins Rollins family tree. Much love to all of you. And the one thing that they were able to bond about was freaking wrestling, dude.
Yeah.
And so wrestling makes the world go round. I was in Mexico, and I had a lucha T-shirt, and we went to this Mayan place, and the guy walked this. I get off the tram, and the guy sees me, and he looks at me and he goes, "Lucha," and I was like, "Hey, what's going on? How are you?" He goes, "Lucha is," and he was like waiting, and fortunately I kind of understood the story because I read about wrestling and stuff, and we were where Lucha was founded in this little area. And I was like, "Oh man, this is my chance." And Tiffany looks at me, she's like, "Don't." And I was like, "Lucha is life." And these people, like a couple of the other vendors come out and they're like, "Lucha, lucha." I was like, "What?" And so we
That's
started
awesome.
this lucha chant, and they come walking over, and yeah, we ended up meeting a little monkey, little the monkey, and I've got my hands up, and he was less than a foot. He was really little, and his name was Justin Bieber, and he recently showed up on, I think it was Instagram or TikTok, and it was with Britney Spears on her honeymoon, and Tiffany was like, "Oh my God, I know Justin Bieber," and I'm like, "Yes, you do." So I thought that was pretty funny. So, again, wrestling, connecting the world, and sometimes we just need to suspend some belief, kind of like a good bourbon, just take the weight of the day off. Like, woof, let me hit the reset button, get myself back to neutral. Listen to a couple of really good promos, which we've had a few of them, and I'm pumped to talk about what we saw recently.
Yeah,
So
we'll have to definitely wrap this one up
yeah,
and then get into our Dynamite review because it was a pretty good show. So
yeah,
we'll probably have to
yeah,
rewind because this will probably release after the Dynamite review. But whatever.
yeah. We won't give anything away to the Dynamite review, but what I will give away is if you are interested in partaking with us, we will at some point very soon have a little virtual bourbon party, and you can drop in what you're sipping on. We'll go live. We'll chit chat back and forth, and you can be part of our triple B party. And just like any other time that you're trying to hook up with the boys out of the No Shave Man Cave, just look us up on our socials, and No Shave Man Cave, wherever you're looking for us, that's where we're at. Whether it's our podcast, our TikTok, our Twitter, Instagram, and we're available on all the different platforms where you can get our podcasts. And recently, JT hooked us up with a Buy Me Coffee. So if you want to set us up with some coffee, and you can pretend that it doesn't say coffee and it says bourbon, but buymecoffee.com, the No Shave Man Cave, we are ready, willing, and able to take some motivated donations.
Yep. And yeah, if you do drop a buy me coffee, we'll give you a shout out on the show for sure. If you
Heck
want us
yeah.
to. If you don't want us to, just leave in the notes that
Yep.
anonymous. But we'll give you a shout out for sure. And yeah, that being said, if you listen to this and you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to us. Set it to auto download to help our numbers up. Obviously, we all know it's a numbers game and an algorithm game.
Heck
Give us those
yeah.
5 stars and leave a comment. Let us know what you think, what you really think. Um, Again, these go out on Twitter as soon as I do them. So drop right below this when it goes on Twitter. If you're following us on Twitter, just drop a comment. Say, man, I don't want to hear about your bourbon talk. Stick to wrestling. Or, hey, I really enjoyed this one. Let's do you guys drink this? Or, you should try this. We'd love to hear that stuff. We really want to be this. We want this to be as interactive with you guys as we can be. And then feedback just helps us grow and improve. So we always appreciate it.
Heck yeah. So real time, I want to thank the 2,560 downloaders. Really, really appreciate it. We're covered in 10 countries, so dare I say we're worldwide, worldwide. So keep doing what you do. Look out for yourselves. Look out for one another. And before you know it, we'll see you on the floor.